Hi, I'm Ben. I talk films, and today I'm talking the film The Lost Bus, which is directed by Paul Greengrass and stars Matthew McConaughey and America Ferrera, and tells the story of a bus driver trying to get a group of 22 kids out of the Paradise wildfire in 2018. This is based on a true story. And I have to admit, I was very nervous going into this movie, specifically because I went to college at Chico State during this tragedy. I was a junior when this wildfire started. And I remember that day. I remember that Thursday like very clearly. I didn't have class on Thursday, so I think I woke up probably close to 1 p.m., not knowing what was going on, not knowing that I had friends and their families who were being evacuated at like 7 a.m. that morning due to the fires. I had no inkling of any of that. All I remember is walking out my front door and instantly getting hit by a smell of smoke and everything just being very dark. And it was pretty clear right away that this wasn't just like a local fire. This fire was big. And I remember that smell. I will never forget that smell. I will never forget that image of the smoke out my front door. Like, it was covering the floor around us. Like, it was absolutely horrifying. And it only got worse as the day went along. I eventually ended up leaving Chico that night once the fire started getting closer and closer to Chico. And I remember I was in my friend's car as we were driving out. And I was in the back seat, and I remember like turning around. I think it's like close to midnight. And I just remember, and we're now like 40 or 50 miles away, mind you. And I just remember the fire very clearly, like the image of hell just behind us, fire everywhere. It was so scary. It is something that is ingrained into my mind. I will never forget that. And that's why I was nervous going into this movie, as one, is this movie going to feel exploitative of a real world tragedy? I am happy to report that I think this movie is very successful. I quite liked The Lost Bus. And I think it comes down to the fact that I think Greengrass is somebody who knows how to direct a film like this. He has done it before with films like United 93. He's done it before with films like Captain Phillips, which is he is able to take real world tragedies and situations and tell humane stories at the center. Stories of survival, and they are stories of people doing their best in the most unimaginable circumstances. And I think that's where this film is very successful, which is these are everyday people trying to make the most of a situation. And it's so clearly done when you look at the supporting cast of this movie. I'm not talking Matthew McConaughey. I'm not talking America Ferrera. I'm talking about the supporting actors in this movie who play the everyday people in this town of Paradise trying to make the most out of what they are learning as it's happening. Specifically, the team that plays the Cal Fire firefighters in this movie is exceptionally good, as we follow them basically learning how severe this situation is and how rapidly it is approaching. And what I love about these scenes is people having to think on the fly and realize what is happening in front of them. It is very reactionary filmmaking and writing and performance style. One of my favorite scenes in this movie is the firefighters realizing how fast this fire is spreading and that they can no longer fight it. They either can try and hopelessly fight this fire, or they can work completely as firefighters, now saving lives and helping with the evacuation. And you can see it dawn on all of these firefighters' faces, which is the level of mass casualty that is about to happen due to this. How many lives are about to be destroyed, and how their job is to now just mitigate that as best as they can. And coming to that realization is horrifying to watch, and I think these actors deliver it with quite simple brilliance, as does everyone in this movie. I think even the smallest of actors in this movie, whether the parents waiting for their children to get out of the fires, hoping beyond hope that their child makes it out of paradise, or whether it's the bus dispatchers who are trying to just calm down the parents, but they themselves are freaking out and losing faith as minute ticks. It is an anxiety-inducing movie, something that Greengrass has excelled at his entire career, and it is helped by the fact that you have great performances at the center of this movie. Matthew McConaughey, somebody that I've always liked on screen. I had a worry about it because, Matthew McConaughey is like, Matthew McConaughey, he's a superstar. He is an A-list movie star. And he's basically being asked to play this rundown, middle-aged man who's struggling with his own personal life and finally kind of gets this moment of redemption in this movie by doing this very heroic thing, which is driving this bus full of children out of paradise. I don't think the family element of this movie worked very well. We do follow McConaughey's character's family for the first 30 minutes of this movie, specifically his relationship with his son and his relationship with his father, who has recently passed. I don't think this part works particularly well. I find the screenplay to be a little too cutesy in this moment of this character essentially trying to find redemption by doing the right thing in this moment. I understand narratively why that might be satisfying. I do think just throwing him in this situation and he is in essentially the wrong place at the wrong time and he is the only one who can do anything at that moment, I think that makes the story more interesting. That doesn't negate how good McConaughey is in this movie, especially some of the moments that he has with the 22 kids in this movie as he's realizing that his role is no longer just bus driver, but he is also in some ways, pseudo parent to these characters in these moments, and also trying his best to be a caretaker and care for these children and keep them calm in the most uncalming of situations. Everything I just said for McConaughey is especially true for America Ferrera, who I thought was sensational in this movie. I think this might be my favorite performance she's ever given. I think she's great in The Lost Bus as the teacher who is on the bus trying to help get these 22 kids to Chico. And specifically, what she does very well in this movie is how she plays each role, which is one, she is the teacher for these children and she is trying to keep them calm in these situations. She's also trying to be empathetic. She's trying to be as caring. She's doing everything for the children and sacrificing. She also has her own family to worry about and fear of what is going on with them, not being able to communicate with them. She's also learning to help the Matthew McConaughey character and this bond that they formed throughout this. I think she is exceptionally good, and there's this one moment of hers that I think is the most stunning performance that America Ferrera has ever given, where essentially the bus gets trapped in the only place that isn't on fire around them. And the bus is just stationary for a little bit, and they need to build filters for the children so the children can breathe through the smoke that's coming in through the vents. There is this moment where America Ferrera's character essentially says, what if we just let them take a nap and fall asleep and that can be it and it can be peaceful? And it's this moment where she is essentially having to reckon with the most unimaginable circumstance, which is what is the most humane way for a child to die right now in this situation? It's harrowing, it's honest, and I believe it to be realistic in this moment of trying to make the best out of the worst possible situation. And the way she delivers it, it's the first moment where the caregiver quality of her kind of breaks for a second and you see the real belief that she doesn't think they're getting out of it as well. And this reassurance that the McConaughey character has to give her in this moment of trying to stay positive in this. I think it's a beautiful scene from America Ferrera. I absolutely loved what she does in this movie. And I also think it signals what this movie does very well, which is capturing humanity in trying circumstances, seeing the best out of it, seeing the worst out of it, seeing the fear, seeing the stress, seeing it all laid bare on the screen. I think Greengrass is one of his own in doing this, and I think this movie is exceptionally great. I totally understand why people will not seek this movie out, especially because I know for anyone who's lived through a wildfire, this can be a very emotionally triggering movie. I was shaking the entire time watching this movie. I found this movie quite tense and frightening. I do think it is a great film, and it is worth checking out on Apple TV+. So for those who are interested, I think this is worth your time. I am giving The Lost Bus 4 out of 5 stars. So thank you to everyone who watched this video. Make sure to subscribe for more reviews coming out soon. Take care. Bye-bye.